Hey everyone, Bigfoot, I'm back here, and today's episode is built around something that everyone's been asking me for, and that's my post-gear video. So I'm going to do that today. Now, those of you that might be new to my channel, be watching my channel for the very first time, I wanted to just kind of give a brief overview of what I did this last summer. So I decided to throughout the entire Appalachian Trail, but I had a very strict time. I only had 100 days to do the trail. I started my hike on April 23rd.
All right, here, first blaze, Springer Mountain. It's 11:45 on Saturday.
And I summited Katahdin on July 31st.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Quite a feat.
Oh, we're here. Wow.
Now, this was incredible. It's something that I've wanted to do for so long, but I didn't have a lot of time. So one of the things that I really spent a lot of time on was really getting a chance to dial in my gear, figure out what I needed, what would work, what wouldn't work before I actually got on the trail. But as many of you know, or those of you that have through hiked the Appalachian Trail know, you're going to make some changes. And I did make some changes. So today I'm going to walk you through my entire gear list of what I ended when I made my final steps up to the Katahdin sign. Hey everyone, so this is what it looks like with all my gear laid out here. I'm going to do this kind of similar to how I did my final gear video before I started the AT, which is just kind of dissect it in certain sections. So I'll start off with talking about the gear that I wore on the trail, and then what I wore in camp and in town, my weather gear, got my pack here, shelter, sleeping bag, and pad, electronics down here, I got my trekking pole, Z-seat, water filtration, and then hygiene and a few other things. So this is actually exactly what I had when I finished the trail. The only thing that I don't have in here is my sandals. I threw them away about 150 miles before I finished. Actually, they were falling apart and I didn't need them for the very end. So that's the only difference that really that I have here that I really didn't have at the very end, but I had for most of my journey, I would say for about 1,500 miles of it. So anyway, let's get into the clothing first. All right, so starting off here, this is all the clothing that I wore on the trail. We'll start over here on the left. This is the Black Diamond Pro Trail Shock trekking poles, and I was blown away with how durable these were. I'll do a video on these alone, but strongly recommend these trekking poles. As you know, most of you know, I actually wore a Suunto Traverse during my entire Appalachian Trail through hike. This is not a Suunto Traverse. This is the Garmin Fenix 3 HR. And the reason why I actually have this now is I actually upgraded to this because this is actually more practical off the trail, running and doing all kinds of multi-sport things, and I wanted a little more functionality. I love the Traverse on the trail, but when I got off, I upgraded. So just pretend that's the Traverse, but that is what I use on the trail. A Patagonia Capilene lightweight base layer shirt here. Then I got my Ex Officio 9-inch sports mesh boxer briefs. I love these guys. I did go down to size medium as I lost a lot of weight. These are the Patagonia Men's GI 3 zip-off shorts. One great thing about these is one color is for one leg, and then there's one color for the opposite. One's kind of like a white, and the other one's a green, so you can't really screw up what leg you need to zip it back on, which is really nice. Darn Tough socks. New Balance Fresh Chrome Heroes. I did have these for the first 1,700 miles of the journey, and then I finished with the Ultra Lone Peak 2.5s, and that's just because I ran out of these. I only had 3 pairs of these, and I wanted a rock plate because these don't have a rock plate inside the sole here when I got into the White Mountains, and I'm glad I did, but I really love these shoes. I did do a review on them. You can check them out before I actually hiked the Appalachian Trail. And then my bandana, my trusty bandana, made it the whole way. This is, I probably wore this about 80% of the time because I just sweat a lot, and I love having the bandana to kind of keep it from going down my head. And then my hat, I wore this 20% of the time. So basically, if I wasn't ascending, I was wearing my hat, but when I was, it was the bandana. All right, let's go to the weather gear next. All right, so when I did have some cold weather or did have some rain, this is what I wore. And actually, my favorite piece of clothing was here on the left. It's the Patagonia quarter zip thermal capilene long sleeve base layer. Love this thing because I wore it so much. Even when it was cool, I was able to zip down my neck here so I could just let the air breathe in. And this was just a great piece addition. I had a hood with this, so I actually was able to send home my micro fleece hoodie, because when it was cold enough where I needed the hoodie, I just wore this. It was great. Rain gear. This is the Outdoor Research Helium jacket. Worked pretty good. This is the Z-Packs rain kilt. Then I got my Ultralight down jacket from Patagonia. This thing's awesome. I only wore this probably about 6 or 7 times because it just didn't get cold enough on the trail during the time that I was out there. But this makes for a great pillow. So I use this a lot of times just to either stuff my stuff stack or just lay on it itself. It was great. And then this is where I stuffed all of my clothes. It's Z-Packs micro fleece sewn in dry sack here, so you turn it inside out, you throw all your clothes, whatever, in there, and then you can use this as a pillow. So that was another nice feature. Just a little more weight on that to add in the micro fleece, but that was nice. So between these two things, I had some great pillows out on the trail. All right, so these were my trail clothes, my camp clothes, and my town clothes. And you say, well, why were these your trail clothes? You already talked about them. Well, actually what I did was I would basically rotate my clothes depending on, what kind of cycle that I was in. So when I'm doing laundry, you obviously have to wear something on your bottoms because you can't be naked. So what I would do is I wash both pairs of my boxer briefs, and I would wash both shirts. I wore my rain jacket for my top, and then I would wear either these Hurley shorts. If these were my current camp shorts, I would wear these I would wear these doing laundry, and then I would rotate them. So once I got done cleaning my Patagonia zip-offs, those became my camp shorts, and I wore these on the trail. And then I just keep on rotating that. So basically every other cycle I was having basically all clean clothes except for my shorts or pants, which I did do every other time. Worked out pretty well. I wouldn't stick to anything else. That system seemed to be good for me. But anyway, I went with Hurley board shorts just because I like Hurley. They feel comfortable. I like when the wind hits them, just the breeze and how it feels on you. So no real rhyme or reason. Another pair of Ex Officio boxer briefs, another capilene shirt, and then another pair of Darn Tough socks. All right, so this is basically my sleeping system, my shelter, and my pack. So starting over here, I went with the Z-Packs Solo Down sleeping bag. This is a 40-degree bag, and I got a 40-degree because I started so late. If I was starting early like March, like many of you probably are, I'd probably go with a 20-degree, but I do sleep warm, and I didn't have an issue. Thermarest Neo Air X Lite, probably the most comfortable and lightest sleeping pad you'll really find out there. There are some that are a little bit lighter, but love this thing. This was my Z-Packs duplex tent. Went with the camo version because I really liked the look of it. Then I got my Z-Packs 52-liter Arc Blast, and this made, this really lasted me the whole journey. You're gonna see some tears and holes and stuff like that. Some of them are from just my neglect, and some are just from wear and tear, but I'll talk more about that when I go into my review. This is the 4-in-1 Z-Packs chest pouch. I love this thing. I got this at Trail Days, had it the rest of the time, and I'll tell you a little more later why I love this and why I really got it. And then the Z-Seat, just a nice little foam pad for you to put your tush on when you stop for water or you're at camp or whatever. It just is nice than sitting on a log or sitting on dirt. All right, my electronics. Made quite a few changes to this through the course of time. I'll talk about this at the end, but starting off, what I used for my headlamp, Black Diamond Storm, Rav Power 12,000 something milliamp, can't remember exactly, I'll put it in the title. Love this thing, got me from A to B without losing my power on my electronics. Life-proof case for my phone. InReach Explorer, this is great. And then all my cables. I had a few cables in here. So I have one specifically for my watch. I had my headphones, I had one to charge my iPhone, and then I had to have a micro USB to charge the Rav Power and the InReach Explorer. So one tip that I'll give everyone out there, I was in a hurry. I had 100 days to do this trail. and I didn't take a lot of zeros. So when I was actually in town, I had to make sure that when I left town, all of my electronics were completely energized, because I needed them to last 4 or 5 days with all the videoing and things like that I was doing. It was really sucking my battery. So I started off with just basically a regular two, whatever you call these things, two micro USB or two USB plug in here, and thought, oh yeah, I can just save myself by being able to plug two things at once and charge two things at once. Well, when I did that, it basically would cut half the power to each device. So the thing that I was most concerned on was charging this guy here, and sometimes this would take, if I remember correctly, like 8 hours to charge. Well, when I tried to do two things at once, this would charge like in 12, 13, 14 hours. I didn't have that time. So when I got to Damascus, I actually bought another one of these. Actually, this is the one I think I did buy. And what I would do is I would plug just my RAV power, my backup battery, and just use that slowly for that device. And then off the side, I would use this to plug in my InReach Explorer and my phone. It worked out fabulous, and I was able to charge everything in town and not having to worry about leaving something and not having enough power to get me through my next resupply. All right, so let's talk about my hygiene items and a few miscellaneous things. Starting off, this was my trowel. I think it's made by Q-Wiz, something like that. I'll put it in the title. This is just a Z-Packs micro or Cuban fiber bag that I use to throw everything in. So what I did with my toilet paper is basically I would cut a straw like from McDonald's or something, and I would just wrap like a quarter roll of toilet paper around it. It's worked out pretty good. Other hikers use like pens or pencils because they were using that to log their journey in their journal. I didn't have that, so that's what I used. Worked out good. Toothbrush, first aid kit. Don't need a lot here. A couple Band-Aids. Remember, you're only trying to get to the next town. So I used a couple Band-Aids. I think I used one the whole entire trip. KD tape, lifesaver right here. This is what's going to be your best blister prevention, or when you do have blisters, this is what's going to help you just get through the next few days, next few weeks until it does heal. But this is the best thing out there. Don't use duct tape. Don't use moleskin. That just is not effective. It doesn't stick to your feet or to your body. Plus, you can use this for muscles and all that kind of stuff. Some Cuban fiber tape, and then I did bring a needle and some thread. Probably don't need this much thread here. The needle was great for popping blisters. I did have a couple blisters. I did use the thread when my poles, the straps actually broke when I got into the 100-mile wilderness. So I was so glad that I actually brought some thread, or else I would have been hosed. That was a pretty crucial piece of the trekking poles. I use my loops all the time, so that would have been hard to get through the last little bit. Sanitizer, you have to have sanitizer. Toothpaste and dental floss. I would say I'm probably one of the very few people that had dental floss, but I have to floss my teeth. I started off with this little one that the dentist gives you, and it lasted me like a week. It just didn't make any sense. Plus, I knew I wouldn't be able to find it on the trail, so I just got this. I didn't really care. I was probably one of 3 people that actually had deodorant. Most people don't have deodorant, but it just made me feel clean. I sweat so much, and I don't know. There was something about getting back in the tent at night and just throwing this on. It just made me feel clean. So if it made me feel clean, I really loved it, and it was worth a couple ounces. Body Glide, I had to have this for my inner thighs. And then just a few miscellaneous things. This is what I kept all my credit cards and stuff in, which is the Z-Packs wallet or something like that. It's made Cuban fiber. This is REI, just a lightweight towel. You have to have one of these because you don't know when you're going to need it. I'll tell you, especially the time I use this the most is if it was raining out and some rain got in my tent when I was sitting up or something like that. I remember one time when I was hiking with the Germans, literally like a gallon of water got in the tent because I was trying to set up my tent in the dark, and I had one of the windows open facing the basically where the rain was coming in. So I have to have one of these things, and it's great to clean your feet, things like that. And then of course my AWOL guide maps. Again, I would cut this into 4 different sections. All right, so this is just what I use for food and for my water filtration. So to carry all my food, I use the Z-Pack spare bag and the line that comes with it. Lighter, titanium spoon. Went with the Sawyer squeeze. Do not waste your time and get the mini squeeze. Every person except for 2 hikers I ran into sent them home And the two people that actually had them, one of them used a different water filter with it. So they get clogged all the time. So save your time, save your money. A little cut off a smart water bottle. Just use this when the streams will go pretty dry. It happens really often, especially with a drier year. So you're gonna need something to scoop up that water to put in your Sawyer bags, which I had 2 Sawyer bags. And then I had basically a liter smart water bottle. So pretend this is a liter smart water bottle. And liter smart water bottles don't come with the smart water bottle top, whatever you want to call it, the nozzle. So I basically had to go out and buy another smart water bottle, put the nozzle on there when I did change them. But you want to have that there. And then I went with a Dasani water bottle for my other one, but I also had a smart water bottle nozzle on the top of this one. And those are just nice because you can flip them open and then drink. You don't have to worry about screwing the top off. And plus you use your smart water bottle top to basically act like a syringe to filter out your Sawyer squeeze. So you don't have to bring the syringe. It fits perfectly on there. And the reason why I did with having one smart water bottle and one Dasani is I wanted something to mix all of my drinks in. So I did Gatorade and other drink mixes a lot. You're gonna do that. And I wanted to have something to do that with. And a lot of things are like 16.9 ounce mixtures. So that's why I went with this, and I actually put it in my front shoulder pouch on my Arc Blast, and then I had my regular 1 liter water bottle that I use for everything else. And then I would just squirt it into this Dasani water bottle. So it worked really, really well with having those tops on both, and just kind of basically able to be efficient on the trail and transfer water from my liter to my Dasani water bottle by doing that. So it was great. Okay, so wrapping up, I want to talk about the changes I did make to my gear from the beginning to the end. So starting off with clothing, I started with the right socks. They're basically the socks that have a liner built inside of it. Hope you can read that. Really cool idea, and I thought this would be great because it would be able to prevent blisters. I was able to have liners with the socks, save some weight. Yeah, these disintegrated by the time I got to the knock. So which was I don't even know, it's maybe 120 something miles in, 130. So I pitched these and I went with the Darn Tough socks. All right, next thing, my micro fleece cap. I love this thing, but I just didn't use it enough. Once I got through the Smokies, I think I used it maybe a couple times. I had my Patagonia quarter zip hoodie, which I use anytime it was cold. I had that on, and when my head was cold, I just put that on top of my head. The only times I would use this really was like when I was going to bed and I wanted something on top of my head, and I didn't want to wear my long sleeve. But once it started getting warmer and towards the end of May, I just said the heck with it, and I had this sent home when my parents came and met me up in Waynesboro. This is a Gorilla Tripod, I think is what it's called, and I just didn't use this that much. If I was on the trail longer and I was doing like different shots, different camera angles, this would have been great. But I wasn't. I used this tripod a few times in my hotel room when I vlogged, but outside of vlogging, I didn't use it outside of those few times, so I sent this home. Now, those of you that follow my journey know that my GoPro crapped out on me because I got some moisture inside of it when I was in the Grayson Highlands. So unfortunately, I had to send my GoPro home. I ended up shooting the rest of my footage of my journey on my iPhone 6. I'll tell you, the iPhone 6 doesn't even compare to the iPhone 6 Plus, and of course the iPhone 7 is a lot even better than that now with the video quality. Just watching some of the other hikers like Spielberg and Bullitt, some of the pictures and videos that they took and the quality, I definitely wish I would have had the 6 Plus when I started my journey. I wouldn't have even need the GoPro, but with the GoPro, I sent home obviously the water case box there. I sent home the charging cable, the extra battery, and then I also sent home my stick pick. I wish I didn't have to, but because I was starting with my GoPro, I didn't think that I needed both of the attachments for my GoPro and my phone, because I wasn't going to use my phone to video anything. It was just going to be to take pictures, really. So I left this at home, and I wish I would have had it with me, but I didn't want them to send it ahead. So I just basically spent the whole time holding my phone up when I was basically vlogging and things like that. So it was kind of a pain in the butt, but anyway, I didn't have my stick pick, and because I didn't have this, I just sent it home. All right, so I have this Petzl, and this is the E-Light Petzl, and it has like maybe 40, 45 lumens, something like that. Hardly enough to do just the functional things in camp, let alone not even good enough to try to night hike with. So I wasn't planning on night hiking at all during my journey, but when I had to make up some miles towards the middle, I did a lot more night hiking, and this thing just did not suffice. So I actually ended up trading this for the Storm. So you know, this would be great for like just, you know, functional things, but not for night hiking. I sent home my ear pads or whatever ear foam things, buds. I can't think of the name right now, but I sent these home because I never used them. I never stayed in shelters except for like 3 times, so I never really had issues with hearing people sleep and snore and all that stuff, so that wasn't useful for me. So those were really the things that I changed during the course of my journey. It wasn't a lot, and I attribute that just because I spent so much time researching and dialing in my pack before I actually got on the trail. So I didn't really have to make very many changes, and if it wasn't for my GoPro crapping out, I would only had a few different changes. Now I mentioned that I picked up this in Damascus at Trail Days. So I use this for really to prevent me from having to stop so often on the trail. So what I would do is in the morning I would basically load up, I would set out what I would eat for the day, breakfast, lunch, everything but dinner and snacks, and I would load my entire pack up with that, and I wouldn't have to stop during the course of my trip. It was really effective because it is so annoying having to take off your pack and dig into your food pouch, or even sometimes reaching back into some of the other, like the drink pouch where some people put food and stuff like that. It was just kind of a nuisance. But also, in addition to what I had besides snacks and food in here, I put my maps in here. I had my DeLorme navigation piece. Sometimes I would clip this to the my pack, but a lot of times I just had it sitting in one of the pouches. This one, when I was getting basically in the afternoon and I might night hike, I would put my Storm in here, have my phone in here, and then I also had my Body Glide. Now I actually use the Body Glide. I think it's like the 0.8 ounce Body Glide, so it's a little bigger. It's bigger than this because that would last me basically for about 400 miles. But anyway, I needed to apply that during the day. So, and that was really everything that I kept inside of here. But love this thing. It wasn't very expensive, maybe 30 bucks or something. I don't really remember anymore. But this really helped save me time.
All right, so we're going to check to see what the total weight of my pack is. I threw my phone in here because I counted that as base weight, but this has basically everything that I had when I summited Katahdin in the back right now as we speak. All right, looks like it's 10.5 pounds. I'm going to check it one more time, zero it off just to make sure. Yeah, 10.5. So 10.5 pounds. Not too shabby.
All right, so that's it. That's my gear. That's everything I had on my back when I climbed up Katahdin. I wanted to show you what my pack looked like once it was fully loaded with all 10.5 pounds of base weight. Of course, again, there's no food or water in this. But I do also want to remind, I know I said it earlier, I'm going to do a review on each of the pieces of equipment that I brought, or all the big things, and I'll continue to post those online on my channel. I hope you found this valuable. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also, if you want to check out my other gear video that I had when I started the Appalachian Trail back on the 23rd of April, go ahead and click on this icon here. It will take you to that video. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for my next sighting. And remember to always follow Bigfoot by subscribing to my channel to continue to get the trail talk and my updates. That's it, guys. Deuces.